What's up guys, Sparky Izzy here, and do you want to see your house from space? Stay tuned. Alright guys, so I'm going to show you how I installed my Govee Permanent Outdoor Lights Pro. If you haven't seen my previous two videos, make sure you go check those out before you watch this video, because this one's going to be a little bit different. The main difference is on the other two videos, I did one zone of the Govee outdoor lights, but this time around I'm going to do 3 different zones, which is going to be the front of the house, the rear of the house, and the top of the house. Before you install these Govee lights on your house, you're going to want to plug them in to make sure that all the LEDs work before you install them underneath the soffit or wherever you plan on installing them. And you do this by plugging it into the nearest receptacle and individually plugging each strand in one by one until you have all strands plugged in. And also, before you install anything, make sure that you're installing the Govee lights the correct way. There's a front and there's a back. The front has a red gasket and the back does not. So when you're starting the run, you want to make sure that you start with the red gasket side and not the opposite side, or you're going to have a bad time. Now the Pro model comes in 100 feet, 150 feet, or 200 feet. Just keep in mind that the lights cannot be directly extended past 150 feet without a Govee driver module. With that being said, the 200 foot kit comes with the Govee driver module, so you don't need to purchase it. And an entire section of light should never total more than 200 feet, including the added extensions. The driver module needs to be installed if you go over 150 feet, so I installed it in between the 5th and 6th strand according to the manual. To connect a section, it's pretty easy. You just need some type of GFCI receptacle outside, and you can plug the adapter and control box into. For my first section, I'm just going to use a GFCI that's on the porch, and I'm going to run the wire along the wall up onto the soffit, and then I'm going to install the first section of lights. The instructions suggest using the 3M adhesive that's on every light. You're supposed to stick it off and stick it to a surface, but I found cable clamps actually work better, and I can link them down below in case you want to use them, but it's a lot more secure than relying on the sticky tape. On the Govee Outdoor Lights Pro, you can cut them and splice them. I didn't end up splicing anything, but I did end up cutting the length off of what I didn't need. Once I made it to the end of the first section, I made sure that the strands were unplugged, and I went ahead and I cut the lights where I needed to, because that was the end of my run, and I taped the ends with electrical tape to make sure water doesn't get to it. Once you have the Govee lights set up, it's pretty straightforward. You plug it in, you go to the Govee app, and you pair it up to the app. Then the on-screen instructions will tell you step by step what you need to do to get them paired up. Now here's an example. Let's say you ordered 100 feet and you ended up using only 60 feet and you cut the strands. Well, the app will ask you a couple questions so that you can calibrate the lights to the correct length that you cut them to. Once the front section was done, I continued on the back section, and I did it the exact same way from start to finish. Once I got to the end, I trimmed it and I calibrated it. For the back section, I do have it temporarily installed using an extension cord on a GFCI receptacle. If you guys didn't know already, I am a master electrician, and I do plan on installing a receptacle in the soffit. If that's something that you're interested in, leave a comment down below and maybe I can make a video in the near future on it. The last section was the top of the house on the soffit. Once again, there's not really much to it besides mounting the Govee lights onto the soffit or wherever you plan on installing them, and a power source, which is like a receptacle. And same thing with this one. I temporarily had it on an extension cord just to test it, but I do plan on putting a receptacle in the soffit to have more of a permanent install. Another thing to keep in mind, like I mentioned earlier, is if you go past 150 feet, you have to install the driver module. When you install the driver module, it's going to mess up the spacing of the lights, so it's best to get a tape measure to measure how much the spacing is and continue that same spacing after the driver module. And just like that, you can see your house from space. I'm going to show you a couple shots of what it looks like, and then I'm going to show you a demo. I hope this video gives you a visual on how these Govee Permanent Outdoor Lights Pro work. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. If you want to see more content like this, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more. Sparky, Izzy, peace.